what's up, everybody? Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're watching from. Thanks for coming in. We have a special edition. It's the 2022 NHL Draft Lottery. Who's going to get number one? Only time will tell. They already have the ping pong balls bouncing around. They're getting ready with the envelopes. This is going to be an exciting half hour or so of hockey news. But I can't do it alone. So before I introduce our very special guest, let's say hi to some people in the chat. Dre the Unstoppable, what's going on? Coaster Mom, Not My Circus, hello, hello. Florida Park Explorers, hello. Dallas Hockey Girl, what's up? Ian B. Coaco, what's going on? Let me scroll back a little bit. Love Pugs, Buck Skull, hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. Now, David, what's up? Steve, hello. Let's bring in our very special guest. You may know him from the parks. You may know him screaming at pillow hands. You may know him from Even Strength. Ladies and gentlemen, the Bear Shark. Please welcome Dave. What's going on, Dave?
What's up, everybody? Welcome into Draft Lottery night.
This is going to be so much fun. Part of me just wants to play bingo when I see those balls bouncing around.
Right?
It is exciting. Well, this is a very important draft, or draft lottery, I should say, because for the teams that didn't make the playoffs, this is kind of their Christmas. This is where they have the opportunity to find out who's going to win the rights to draft Shane Wright, a 6-foot center weighing in at 191 pounds, playing for Kingston of the OHL. He's supposed to be the be-all and end-all. Where is he going to go next season? So before we get into all the odds, and I just realized my little logo in the bottom right corner is probably covering some of the bottom teams, but it's okay. We know they're not going anywhere. They're not going to move up. Of all the top teams, let's say the top four, Montreal, Arizona, Seattle, Philadelphia, do you have a preference who you'd like to see get that number one pick just to improve?
Seattle.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Darn it, I want to disagree with you so bad. I'm the same way. I'd love to see Seattle get it just because they have a cool jersey and they really stunk for their premiere season.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, look, out of the four top teams that you're talking about, of course I don't want the Habs. Like, let's just call it right out. Why? Because they're probably going to get it, but I don't want them to get it. Then you have the Coyotes. They shouldn't even have a team. And then you have Philadelphia. I can't support a team in my division. So that kind of left Seattle right off the bat. But again, as you said, expansion team, they didn't come out like Vegas did. And you know what? I really want to see them succeed as a franchise.
Yep, same way. I'm kind of the same. Montreal, I'm a Toronto guy. If I was to say Montreal, half my chat would unsubscribe and leave, which, by the way, don't.
I would too.
Yeah. Arizona, I'm sorry. I don't want this kid who's supposed to be amazing going to play in a 5,000-seat stadium and also maybe end up playing with Austin Matthews in a couple of years. So don't want Arizona. And Seattle, they're the only one. Like, I just feel for them. I want them to succeed so bad. So let's run down real quick. They're going to do their whole spiel. You know, teams that win the draw, they can move up a maximum of 10 spots. So you can move up a maximum of 10 spots. Only teams ranked 1 through 11 can win the first overall pick. Teams ranked 12 through 16, if they win the draw, Montreal will lock in the first overall pick. So some pretty crazy odds.
Pete's apparently from Montreal.
Hey there, Pete. Up, Pete. Pete, I'd love to talk French with you sometime.
Je m'appelle Bear Shark.
Andrew, what's going on? And welcome in, everybody. Jacob, hello. So here are the odds. Here's how it all shakes down. Vegas with the 16th pick. They have a 0.5% chance of moving up. Vancouver in 15th also has a 0.5%. Winnipeg Jets with a whopping 1.5%. The Islanders, they're sitting at 2%. The Islanders could desperately use some help after they just kind of dumped off their coach, and they're looking to make some moves. So we'll have to see what they end up doing. Columbus next at 12th with 2.5. The Sharks with 11%. The Sharks, they're kind of in an interesting place. I actually didn't follow the Sharks all that much this year, but the big news coming out of San Jose, the retirement announcement of Patrick Marleau after, was it 23 or 25 years? It's pretty remarkable career from the Patty one. The Ducks sitting in 10th at 3.5%. The Sabres sitting in ninth place. They have 5% chance of getting it. This would be huge for the Sabres because they were one of the hottest teams after the All-Star break to close out the year. And man, if they added a talent like Shane Wright to their core of young guys, that would be they're going to be fierce to deal with regardless. So that would be interesting. Detroit, 6%. Detroit also has a couple hot young prospects they're playing with. Two of them potentially could be up for Rookie of the Year in Lucas Raymond and Mortiz Seider. You got Ottawa at 6.5%. They're in seventh. I don't want it to be Ottawa. Again, it's the whole Toronto, Montreal, Ottawa triangle, the Canadian triangle. Chicago sitting there in sixth at 7.5. Chicago had a tremendous amount of issues this year. We know big controversy to start the year. They just had a horrendous season. They moved Hagel the Bagel to Tampa Bay. Chicago, who knows what's going to happen with them. New Jersey Devils in fifth at 8.5%. Boo. And then we get into the top four, as we said. The Flyers at 9.5%. Seattle at 11.5%. The Coyotes, that was terrible, at 13.5%. And then Montreal at a whopping 18.5%.
So I got two questions for you. Number one, what team is Barry Trotz going to? Number two, if you had to pick a top 10 team, because you can only move 10 spots, who would you say out of the top 10 could potentially grab that number one? Because we always talk about the top four because they have the highest percentage. But PK Subban is now officially leaving the Devils. That's like done. So the question is, who do you think in the top 10? And out of all of the teams that are going to fire their coaches, who right now is salivating going, hey, Trotz is an upgrade, you're gone?
Well, I can tell you, if this week doesn't go well, Brendan Shanahan and the Leaf Brass are probably one of those teams sitting there going, all right, we didn't get out of the first round again. We need to make some big-time moves, and Sheldon Keefe could find his way out. And Trotz would be a very interesting pickup. So that's for one. If I had to pick a top 10 team, usually these things go pretty well to order, but I'd love to shake it up. I don't know if Coach N is in the chat, but I would go with the Sabres. I would love to see Buffalo make that long shot jump all the way up top. I don't know if anyone from that far back has done it before.
No, but and when you look at the top five, right, and that's Devils all the way down. If you look at what teams actually need it, the top three need it.
Oh, 100%.
There's no doubt. Once you get to Philadelphia, it's a totally different story. They did it to themselves. The Kraken, it's an expansion draft. I never expected an expansion team to be good, but hey, look, the Knights proved us wrong with that one. Phoenix is not deserving of the pick, period. Like, if they get it, it's like the equivalent of in the 80s going to the Browns.
Yeah.
So basically it leaves the Habs. I'd rather them be the Habs not.
Yeah. They're talking to Shane Wright right now, and I have my volume down, but I'm sure he's saying, well, it doesn't matter who wins the pick. I'm just happy to be playing in this league, and wherever I go, I'm going to try my best. And the classic answers, but you can read it all over his face. He is super excited because he knows his destiny is going to be made today. And truth be told, if Montreal wins it, as much as we can't stand Montreal, they're a pretty good hockey town. You're going to a place where fans are going to support you. They're going to come out and cheer for you. They're going to do everything. Phoenix, put them aside. Even Seattle, the fans come out and support Seattle. Here, they're actually walking. The envelopes are making their way into the studio. They're going to commercial break, so this is going to come up real quick. Yeah. And while it is at a commercial break, let me mention everybody that's here again. Thank you so much for coming in. Texas Hockey Cards, what's going on? Right after this, at 7:30 tonight, we're going to be doing the Leafs in Tampa Bay Game 5. So you should automatically get redirected from this stream to the feed for our Leaf Tampa game, but that's going to start at 7:30. So when this is over, grab your snacks, grab your drinks, grab your jerseys, because we're going to have a great night of hockey. So if you had to pick one of the not 10 teams, somebody who, a bottom feeder with a small percentage, do you think that would happen, that they would get selected, so therefore Montreal by default would make the pick? Or do you think it's not even a question?
I don't think it's a question. My biggest thing is when we do every year when we do this, I always sit there and go, okay, you got the number one pick, you got this, you always wonder, because the one thing that's never discussed during the lottery draft is salary cap. And it's one of those things where we were just talking about bad management and how teams get into this. Well, what if you're in deep trouble? You could wind up, and I don't know that it's ever happened, and I'm sure Bernie does, but I don't. Has a team ever traded away the number one draft pick simply because they're not ready for it? The number one draft pick is designed to come in as NHL ready. And if you're 2 to 3 to 4 years out, do you want that number one pick now? Or would you rather trade for a future number one draft pick? I don't know. I mean, because I look at what's sitting up on the board, and if I'm the Coyotes, I'm selling everything, including my stadium, the pucks, the kid who drives the Zamboni. I'm selling everything.
Yeah, and they already have been, because as we know, they're trying in 3 years or so to make a ploy for Matthews. So they have lots of room available. But that's a good point. Depending on where you finish, and these kids, we know they're going to get an entry-level deal. That's fine. The entry-level deal, they're going to come in. But a guy like this, even, the first 5 picks or so are going to be good picks this year.
Yeah.
So you're going to have them for 2-3 years, and then you're going to have to give them a real contract.
Yep.
And if you have a bunch of guys already tied up for, 5, 6, 7 years, you're not going to be able to afford that. And you're right.
Well, and that's kind of the point, though, is we've learned over the last couple of years that some of these first, second, third picks, they're busts.
Yeah.
I'm sitting with one of them sitting on my team right now. Capo Caco, I think, is a second rounder or second draft, a number 2 draft pick in the first round. He's maybe a third liner, and this kid's going to be looking for high money. We've also got Lafreniere. He's starting to come around again, number 1 draft pick. He's not exceptional. Now, there are exceptions to that rule. This kid looks pretty good. But it's making that transition, and you do have to ask yourself, how are you positioned? Are you able to clear money off the books? Are you able to do certain things? And what does your AHL program look like? What does your ECHL program or OHL look like?
Sure.
If they're not, and this is where the back office is so important when it comes to hockey, because it's not like in football where you're drafting ready-made players.
Yeah.
All the way into the, the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round, you're picking up players that could potentially play.
Yep. And there's lots of players, and there's Bill Daly. Bill Daly's out. He's got the stack in front of him. But lots of players, number 1 picks, have not come out, like Jack Hughes, Nolan Patrick. There's the list goes on and on. So you're right. You never know what you're going to get.
Well, and again, if you trade for draft picks and you can clear up some stuff and build your future, the other thing being is the reason Jack is doing so poorly is look who he's playing for. Yeah, it's like, if you have I'm just going to pick on Saquon Barkley. He went to the New York Giants, happens to be my team. He would have been, if he went to the Patriots or to San Fran, he's got a ring.
Here we go. They're starting it off. The first pick, Vegas Golden Knights, number 16. So Vegas, we're going to move, as they move over, we're going to move the logos over. So Vegas gets number 16. This pick was coming over from Buffalo, was a trade to Vegas. Number 15 goes to
NHL Draft belongs to
Vancouver Canucks. So far the percentages are working as expected.
This will be GM Patrick Alvin's first draft since taking over as the general manager of the Canucks.
So
doesn't this seem archaic to you?
The 14th overall selection
14.
in the 2022 NHL Draft belongs to
Winnipeg.
Jets.
So far, no change. Everything is working as expected.
Last year, they drafted Chad
Winnipeg
Lucius
getting the
with the 18th
14th.
overall pick.
We expect the Islanders will remain in 13.
The
Here we go.
13th overall selection in the 2022
The
NHL
13th
draft
pick belongs to the New York Islanders.
This is the first time since 2019 that the Islanders will have a first-round draft.
So in the first time since 2019, the Islanders have had a first-round draft pick. So they had a couple of years where they've traded them away.
This is what I'm talking about, though, right?
Yep.
The 12th
12th
overall
pick
selection
is
in the
going to go
2022
to
NHL draft belongs to
the Columbus Blue Jackets. So
The Blue Jackets
Following
also
suit.
had the 12th pick in
Lou
last
looked like he
year's
was
draft,
asleep.
selecting
Yeah.
Cole Sillinger,
they're saying the
who
Blue
has
Jackets
a
had the
great
12th
rookie
pick
season this
last year as well. So back-to-back 12th round selections for the
the
Jackets.
11th overall selection in the
The 11th pick
NHL
is
draft
going to go
belongs
to
the
San
Sharks.
Jose
And this is
Sharks.
the first time since 1994 that the Sharks will select with the 11th overall pick when they selected Jeff Friesen.
Jeff Friesen was the last time the San Jose Sharks
Number
picked at
10
11th.
pick in the 2022
Number
NHL
10
draft
is going to go
belongs
to
the
the Anaheim Ducks. So
The
far,
Ducks have made 5
I wonder if
first-round
Charlie
picks
the
in
same
the
way.
last 3 years.
oh, Elaine, thank you so much. Elaine, brand new channel member. Thank you for joining, Elaine. We appreciate that.
Number 9 overall pick.
Elaine, we'll
in
get
the
right back to you.
2022
Number
NHL draft
9
belongs to
goes to the Sabres. So we're within the top 10 now. We're within the top 10. So any of these teams can make an upset.
That Buffalo's had multiple first-round picks.
I want to give another shout out to Elaine. Lots of shout outs to Elaine.
Number
Thank you
8
very
overall
much.
selection
Elaine's
in the
awesome.
2022 NHL draft
Number 8
belongs
goes to the Detroit Red Wings.
This is only the second
The
time
Wings
Detroit has
of
had the
Detroit.
eighth
So
overall
far,
pick.
this
The
is
last time
exactly
was drafted in
as expected.
1985.
Could you imagine if it doesn't move at all?
Things are going
There's got to be
as
one.
planned.
One team has to go out of order.
Draft order odds.
I wonder if it's ever happened.
The number 7.
Number
overall
7's
pick
gonna
in the
go to
2022 NHL draft belongs to
The Ottawa
Ottawa
Senators.
Senators.
Hopefully, the officials watching over this draft were better than the officials that are calling the playoff games so far. No? Bill Daly was hooked and held as he was coming into the studio. No call.
number 6.
They tripped him. It was cross-checking.
Number 6 is going to go to the Blackhawks of Chicago.
The Blackhawks will actually transfer this pick to the Columbus Blue Jackets.
So Chicago is going to transfer this pick
This is the
to the
second
Columbus
straight
Blue
year the
Jackets.
will have multiple first-round picks after they
So
had
Columbus
three
gets
last year.
multiple picks this year.
Number 5.
Number
overall
5 on our
selection
list
in the
should be the
2022
Devils.
NHL draft belongs to
The Flyers. So the
Oh,
Flyers drop down.
I love that.
Way back in
I
1967.
told you. They don't deserve it.
New Jersey Devils will have either the number 1 or number 2 pick in this year's
So the Devils will end up with either number 1 or number 2.
4 overall pick.
The number
in
4th pick.
2022 NHL draft belongs to
The Seattle Kraken. So Seattle
This
drops
is
down.
only the
Ouch.
second draft
Yeah,
the
no
Kraken
kidding.
will take part in after Seattle drafted Matty
So this
Woodard.
is going to get really interesting now. We know New Jersey is going to be 1 or 2.
That
Is it going to be
brings
the
us to
Coyotes or the
top three
Canadiens
spots.
that hang in
There
there?
are 3 GMs anxiously
I'll
awaiting
tell you what.
to hear their team's name called
So
as the winner of this year's.
so they're going to go to a commercial break. Unbelievable.
Arizona or New
All right.
Jersey.
So which one are you thinking?
Ooh, knowing my luck, because the teams I always cheer against do well, it's probably going to be Montreal.
So the question is, all right. So here goes NHL conspiracy theory time. Ready? Are we trying to rebuild the Devils or are we trying to rebuild the Habs? If you're the NHL.
Or are they trying to spark some more interest in Phoenix?
I wasn't going to go there yet because the truth is, you do have to ask yourself the question: how many more years before they pull that franchise?
That's right. All right, put in the chat. Well, we have a few minutes. Put in the chat Montreal, Arizona, or New Jersey. You can do short forms. Let's see what you guys are thinking in the chat. Who is going to come away with number 1? You could do M for Montreal, A for Arizona, or N for New Jersey.
Because here's the conspiracy. The conspiracy is Jack goes to Devils, right? You come back to the Devils again, you give them the first overall 2 and 3 years.
Yeah.
They've also been in the top 5 like the last couple of years. So I think you put together 2 number ones, you start to put the team together, yada, yada, yada. Now the Devils are competing.
This is what Edmonton did, right? How many years in a row did Edmonton have the first round pick? They had it like
Exactly.
5 out of 6 years or something. And
And
it's
look where
taken
they
them
are.
until now to get it going. So interesting. We see it's kind of all over the place. See a couple Arizona, some Montreal, some New Jersey. So it's pretty split across the board. And again,
So-
welcome in everybody. If I haven't said hello to you, Regal, Dave, Road Warrior, hope everyone is doing well. And again, join us when this wraps up, 7:30, Leafs in Tampa Bay, game number 5. Gonna be a doozy.
Yeah, and I mean, when I look at the fact that, obviously the Habs keeping it, I mean, you're talking original 6, you're talking, the implications are it would be a really great pick. The Devils, though, I don't know. Like I look at the 3 teams that are left, and I go, one team shouldn't even have a franchise. One team is 4 to 5 years away, probably 3 to 4 years away, if they go into full rebuild mode. And that would be the Devils. And then you have the Habs, which they might be a team that could turn around in 2 years. So do you give them the draft pick and let them try to become a contender again? This way you get some of that Canadian chutzpah where you guys are up there, they're up there, you guys are turning it around.
Yep.
You do potentially have the Sabres if they make the right moves. They're not a Canadian team, but it's that whole quadrant. I don't know.
Here we go. We're coming back. Number 3.
Overall selection.
Number 3 is going to go to
NHL Draft belongs to the
Arizona. Drops down to number 3. Oops.
This
I
is
just moved the wrong
familiar
thing.
territory for
Thank
the Coyotes,
goodness.
who selected Dylan Strome,
Wow.
3rd overall in 2015, and Kyle Turris with the
So
number
that
2
means
back in
New Jersey
2007.
is going to be
So
1 or 2, and
now we
Montreal
know
is going to be
either
1 or
Montreal
2.
Canadiens or
Where are they
New
gonna
Jersey
go?
Devils will own the right
And guys,
to
if
select
you're a
first
Ranger
overall
fan, if you're a
in
hockey fan or a
2022
Disney
Upper Deck
fan,
NHL
make
Draft
sure
Lottery.
to check out Dave the Bear Sharks
First
page. We're
overall
going to drop the
selection
links
in
in
the
there for you shortly.
2022
Here's number
NHL
1.
Draft
The number 1
belongs
pick
to
goes to
the
Montreal Canadiens.
means number
Le Habitant de Montréal come out with the number 1 pick.
Congratulations to the
New
Canadiens
Jersey's
for
gonna
their
get number
second
2.
straight year. The team
Mods,
with
if we
the
could
best
drop
odds
all of
will
Dave's
retain
links
the
in
top
there, we'd
selection
appreciate
of
it.
the
Check it out.
Can you drop them all?
We got the FPEN Sports Network, where you can find Even Strength Saturday nights. We recap all the week's worth of hockey. It is a blast. Check out the FPE Network for all kinds of after-hours Disney fun and entertainment, and the Florida Park Explorers live streams from the parks. These guys are so much fun. I promise you, you will be hooked after one stream.
We're back tomorrow in the park.
Sweet.
So excited.
Which park are we hitting tomorrow?
Whatever reservations open.
All right, there you go.
I'm just excited to get back in and live stream tomorrow. So it'll be fun.
Awesome. Well, listen, that was super cool. That was really excited. It pretty much went as expected until that 5th pick, and Flyers, Seattle, Arizona, all dropping. New Jersey with the big mover and shaker, moving up to number 2, Montreal with number 1. Hey, at least being in Toronto in that Montreal-Toronto rivalry, I'm going to see a lot of this kid, Shane Wright. So that's going to be exciting. And who knows, maybe Montreal will do something unpredictable and trade him on draft day. You never know what's going to happen.
Do you know how they're situated for cap?
I'm not. I'm going to have to look that up.
Because they're the team, when I said about cap, they're the ones that immediately jumped to mind. I know that they're carrying long-term IR. They've got some heavy contracts. I wonder what exactly is going to come out with their salary cap implications. And because I said to you before, they could be 2 years away. They could also be 5.
So here it is. For this past year, obviously the cap's going to go up about $1 million or so. Montreal has 0 cap space. They've used almost $11 million in long-term injury relief. They are pretty stacked, and coming next year, coming off the books, not a whole lot. They have, just under $2 million for Tyler Pitlick, Matthew Perreault, about $1 million. Yeah, they're pretty
So
they're pretty locked up solid.
This is what I was talking about. Is here's a team sitting at the worst position in the league, okay, because they just got the number 1 draft pick with no cap space for the foreseeable 2 to 3 years.
Yep.
So how does a team like this rebuild around a number 1 pick right now? Do you trade it away and try and get some cap relief?
The only way they can get cap relief, and it's going to come in the amount of about $10,500,000, is if they move Carey Price.
Carey Price has got to go.
He's got to go. And we think from what we saw in that last game that Carey Price played, where he put his stick up on the net, he turned around and was waving at his family while the play was still going on, is a pretty clear indication that he's done in Montreal. In the post-game interview, they kind of asked him about it, and he said, well, hey, you never know, so why not?
What's left on his contract? Is it 1 year?
Oh, gosh.
Or 2?
He is signed. He's an unrestricted free agent in the 26-27 season. So he's signed until 25.
The other problem you have is if you cut him versus trade him, because then do you wind up retaining money for a trade? If you cut, do you wind up having contract left over? How much it costs for the buyout? They were the team that I was talking about when it comes to this number 1 draft pick, where this is a wasted pick, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because this is a team that is one of the worst teams in sports right now. And it's not their fault. It's just they had bad management for a while. They're going to rebuild. They could have been 2 years away if they make the right moves, but you got solid goaltending. You bring this kid in, you make a couple of moves, but they have no cap space.
Yeah.
So,
hey, Sean. Sean says bring him to Boston. So, Sean, let me ask you, would you pick up his whole salary, $10.5 million, to bring him to Boston? That would be tough.
So you got to figure if you might retain 50% of that to get rid of him, and then all you freed up was $5 million. I don't know that that's worth it when you're talking about you're at a place of $8 million salary cap trying to make any move next year. So I don't know. I'm gonna say this to you, and because I know you got to get ready for your game. This is one of these times where you look at it and go, they were who I was thinking of when I sat there and said salary cap issues. The Devils, I mean, it doesn't even behoove them to trade back that little. If anything, they should be trying to trade with a team that has tons of salary cap space, like Arizona.
Yeah.
If you go to a place like that where there's tons of space, you may be able to dump off some players. That would be a good move for Carey Price, by the way. They got tons to eat that up, and they could probably take some of the other dredges and eat that in salary cap space. But it's going to take a lot of really good negotiating. And with that, I know that you need to run. So out of the draft, do you think that nudged Barry Trotz one way or another?
No, I don't really think it made any difference to his decision making. Listen, Trotz wants to go somewhere where he's going to win. Looking down this list, there's only one team that jumps out at me as a team that has some potential of making some noise next year. And I've kind of mentioned them 2 or 3 times already, and that's the Sabres. I think everyone else, well, Vegas has an outside chance, but
I'm going to throw one at you.
Sure.
I think he is tailor-made to go into the Detroit Red Wings.
Really? That would be interesting. They do have some good young prospects. I just don't know if they're going to be a
young team. You bring in a couple veteran leaders, move some stuff around. I think they've got cap space. I think they're prime. They're where the Rangers were 2 years ago. You're going to bring in a guy like this. He's going to command that room. You bring in 2, 3, 4 good veterans. And let me tell you something. You trade away some of the draft picks. You're already rebuilt with youth. If you're structured correctly, this is his ideal situation.
Yeah.
So
going to the Red Wings, though, is kind of like living in a house and then downsizing to a condo. You got to get rid of a lot of crap. There's a lot to move around, and it's going to be a multi-year project there in Detroit. The question is, does he want to ride it out? We'll see.
Well, I mean, I don't know that there's a veteran team that's firing their coach other than, the Islanders. I mean, If you look at, like who's out there, who's like you guys are, you're probably the prime example. If somebody moves on from their coach, it's going to be you guys. It'll be It's not going to be the Penguins. It's not going to be Boston. You do have the Habs, but why in the world would he want to go there? So, I mean, you've got a lot of these really good teams like the Preds. The Preds, it's not their fault. They got injury bug.
Yep.
You're looking
And
at
they got Colorado.
so these coaches aren't going anywhere. So when you start to look down the list a little bit and you go, well, where's your best chance to rebuild successfully? There's two teams that stick out. It's Buffalo and Detroit, in my opinion.
Yeah. I would be shocked if he's not signed somewhere for draft day.
Oh, he will be. He's gonna make sure he's maneuvering that team.
Yeah.
So there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. That I'm convinced of. Draft everybody, just so you know, is on the 7th and 8th of July, and we're gonna have some fun with that, provided my Canadian counterpart can. I think we've got it worked out.
We'll make it work one way or another.
So it should be. We're hoping it's going to be the even strength group, all three of us together, and then we're going to try to see if we can talk with Pete and see if Pete wants to come in and join us with that as well. So draft day ought to be fun, but until then, he just shouted me out. I'm on his channel, so let me shout him out. 7:30 tonight, right here. Make sure you guys are back. Make sure that you get your snacks, get your pillow hands. No, wait, wrong stream. Get some brownies, get whatever you got to get, and make sure you're rooting for Sam.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Dave. Appreciate it. Thanks for doing this. This was so much fun, as always.
Thanks for having me.
Everyone in the chat, thank you for being here. We'll see you right back at 7:30. Get your snacks, get your food. New stream, it's scheduled, it's there. You'll be redirected, so just leave this up. It'll take you right over. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you all real.
Go Leafs, go.